Hi everyone, my name is Erica Wood and I'm from the Hopkins County Extension Office and I'm back with another video. So I've actually started to hibernate indoors since we're getting into the later fall months and the growing season is pretty well ended outside. And so definitely I'm going to be focusing a lot more on some indoor plants and maybe some little projects and activities that you can do indoors during these winter months. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about today is actually creating a adorable little desert dish garden with succulents, because the holidays are right around the corner and this may make a fun little gift for somebody. Let's get started. Let's talk about first the materials that we're going to use, and then I'm going to demonstrate how to put them all together to create this lovely dish garden. So the first thing you're going to need is some kind of bowl. So this could be just like a simple bowl that maybe you can buy at a store that you may even use for something like cereal, or it could be something more decorative. Something that I would recommend though is most bowls that you buy, they're not going to have a drainage hole. And if there's a way that you can maybe drill a hole without harming the bowl itself, then that would be ideal, just because having a drainage hole will help to leach out any excess water. And that's especially important if you are an overwaterer and you don't want your plants to drown in soggy, wet soil. So, if you can add a drainage hole, great. If not, just be very sparing whenever you go to water these plants, because they are succulents that we're talking about. So start off with a bowl, and then what else you're going to need is some potting mix. So you can get cactus and succulent mix at garden centers. It's a little bit more sandy soil, a little more well draining, and that's what you want for succulents. You just want to make sure you have well draining soil. Now, if you have regular potting mix, that's totally fine too. Something that I would just recommend is maybe considering adding a little bit more drainage material that helps to better aerate the soil. So something like perlite or vermiculite might be something you want to add to your regular potting mix. So perlite is kind of like that puffed volcanic rock that kind of looks like styrofoam. And then the vermiculite is kind of this flatter, more shiny drainage material. And so adding either one of those to your regular potting mix will help to better aerate and just make that soil a little bit better draining for the plants. And then what else you're going to need is you're going to need some kind of like smaller rock or gravel material that you're going to add to the top of the soil once everything's planted. This is actually pea gravel, and you can purchase that at any big box garden store, okay? They have bags of these, and you may actually use it outside for different projects, but I like to use it because I love the colors. I think it kind of creates that nice little desert landscape aesthetic, so, you can try that. And then something else, I like to add a little bit more decorative touches, final touches. So you may want to find some larger rocks or stones, even marbles, seashells even, something like these that, are just very pretty and it's gonna add some color. And then last but not least, you need the plants. And I have quite a few succulents here. We're actually gonna be doing a dish garden project for one of our classes here at the office, and have a wide range of succulents to use. So this is about roughly a little less than 8-inch container, and so I'm gonna do 3 succulents. Especially when it comes to like a design aesthetic, it's really good to go with odd numbers versus even numbers. So like if you have like 3s and 5s, things like that. So I already have this full of soil, so that's your first step, is to fill your pot, your dish full of soil. And then I'm gonna kind of like go ahead and make 3 holes where I want to add my succulents, okay? So I'm gonna get myself my hands a little dirty here, and I'm gonna go ahead and dig these little holes. And then I'm gonna grab 3 succulents. And the fun thing with succulents is you can pick, you know, really whatever you want, whatever color variety. You may choose to go with something like the echeverias that are the more rosette succulents, or maybe you go for something like the haworthias or the zebra plants that are a little bit more rigid and textured. But, you know, regardless of what you want, you know, choose succulents that are going to fare well, that are going to be pretty durable. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently take these succulents out of their container. So usually I like to flip the container upside down and remove the succulent. This one doesn't have a whole lot of roots, but I will try to, like, you know, break up the root system a little bit just to get them nice and comfy in their new home. And then I'm going to go ahead and put them in the hole, and then I'm going to firm up the soil around that to make sure they're tucked in like they're going to bed. And so then I'm going to add my next plant, and again I'm going to put these upside down. Okay, and this one has a little bit more roots, so I'm just going to break these up a little bit. Don't be afraid to break up the roots. Succulents are pretty durable, that I really don't worry too much about them. Whereas other plants might be a little bit more sensitive, I don't worry too much about that with these. So I'm going to go ahead and firm up the soil around this one, and just like I said, tuck it in. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my final succulent, and I'm going to just do the same thing. So some of these don't have as much of a root system as the others. So we'll just go ahead and plant these like that. All right. And so you can kind of see here these adorable little succulents. And so then what I'm going to do is, if I feel like I have enough soil at the surface, I'm going to just kind of leave them be. If, you know, you might need to add a little bit more depending on your situation. But I'm going to go ahead and add these rocks. And you can use like a little trowel if you don't want to get your hands too messy. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of add them to the surface. I'm just going to kind of flatten them out and make sure they're evenly distributed along the surface. And like I said, this is purely for aesthetics. You don't have to do this, but if you're definitely trying to create that cute little dish garden, you know, aesthetic, then that's what you want. You can probably hear the little stones kind of drop into the floor. So this can be a little bit messy. So maybe have, you know, some kind of like tablecloth, or put these in some kind of, you know, like box or something where you're just not going to get it all over the place or all over your floors. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of try to fill up as much of the spaces as possible. I really don't want any dirt to be showing. Okay, so yeah, just trying to avoid that. So with most succulents, these are going to need to be in pretty high light conditions in your home. Most of them are going to need to be in a south or west facing exposed window. Some exceptions are things like your haworthia and your gasteria. They can tolerate kind of lower light conditions, like more of an east facing window. But they can do okay in higher light. But just know that you need higher light for your succulents. And you're going to water these very sparingly, okay? So, like, you know, it's difficult with the rock, but, you know, check with your pinky, you know, go down in the soil a couple inches. And if it feels pretty dry, then go ahead and water them. But you're going to be watering, you know, very sparingly in the winter months because most plants are not active. They're kind of entering almost like a dormancy period. And so, you know, you're looking at every couple weeks to some, you know, some of these can even survive months without water. But just kind of check them. If they start to look like a little wilted or their leaves are shriveling up, then maybe they might need a little bit more water. But it's better to underwater than it is to overwater succulents, because they're adapted to storing water in their stems, in their leaves, so that they can tolerate longer periods of drought. So just something to keep in mind with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just add some like decorative rocks. So I really like these black rocks here. I think they are a nice contrast with the pea gravel. So I'm just going to kind of add them in the spaces where there is no succulent. So just going to do that. So you can see here, that's my finished product. So very simple, really only takes a couple minutes to do, but just makes a really pretty gift for the plant lover in your family. So definitely check it out, and it's just a fun little activity. So I hope you all enjoy, and I think that'll do it for this video. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.